guys, welcome back to Hey Manager with me, Alex, and today we're going to get back into the Fantasy Premier League. It's been 5 days since I uploaded. I needed to bring you another video. It's been too long, but I've been waiting for the FPL to start back up. A bit of international football, a bit of a break, and yeah, let's get straight back into it, aren't we? So, where are we up to? So I'm going to quickly go through my team. This is where I left off last time. Obviously, I made the transfer for Senesi to come in. I had brought Omar Richards in when I did my wild card. We had Sanchez and Chalobah in, who were obviously on my bench last time round. Lost out on around, I think it was 21 points between them. I lost out on, obviously, replacing the likes of maybe a Matty Cash and the likes of a Van der Ven, who got 1 point and 1.0 points. I could have had an extra 20 points there, which is bad to miss out on. Grealish, we've got in there because I think he's been really good lately. Gakpo in there, he's been really good firing it up for Liverpool in the midfielders out of all of those that you can choose from. Semenyo, he was on my bench last time around, but he's got a great run of fixtures coming in, and Johnson obviously for the Tottenham attack. We've got Ndoye on the bench as well for the Forest side of things, but we'll get into that in a minute. João Pedro's in firing form. Haaland looks really good before the international break. Just a shame City can't create as much as they can. And then Ekitike was the pick of the bunch from Liverpool's front line. So what I'm going to do is just go through quickly where I think I can improve this side. Now, looking at how some business has been done, we've seen the likes of a few players coming in. I'll go through them in a minute. But the likes of an Isak coming in puts Ekitike's spot in a bit of dismay. Like, I think the way that Schlott plays his football is he has a few favourites like Gravenberch and McAllister or whoever comes in, Szoboszlai for example, but I think if you play to a set standard like a Szoboszlai, like a Gravenberch, like an Ekitike who plays well, I think he's going to let you keep your run of form and keep you going. So I think for me, if Ekitike has a poor game, he will get dropped and then Isak will come in. I don't think Isak's up to match fitness just yet. He wasn't on the bench for Sweden. We'll have to see how he fares going forward. But I'm going to stick with Ekitike for now. That's my plan. Other ones that I'm going to look at, Tottenham had quite a few players come in. We've seen Xavi Simons come in. We've seen Muani come in. Who gets displaced for those players? Like Muani definitely has to start up front for me. Like I know Richarlison started with a bang. I know they've got the likes of Dominic Solanke, but Muani, the pacing behind, the hold-up play, the ability to score. He's brilliant when he was in Frankfurt and then PSG. All those types of teams. Juventus he even did well at last year. I think he got 11 goals in 19 games or something around there. I think for me, I need to just keep an eye on Johnson, and it might be a case of taking him out and maybe putting in the likes of a Simons or someone who's a bit more creative in that midfield. I want to try and get someone from that Tottenham attack in there because I think they'll be great. Plus, they have a brilliant run of games coming up, as I just quickly show you. Fixtures-wise, West Ham, Brighton, Wolves, Leeds, Villa. If Villa find the form, a difficult one, but I think a great run of 5 games for Tottenham. I want to try and jump on that bandwagon. The other one is going to be obviously the likes of Donnarumma coming in for City. Does that improve them? Other than that, you got Lemons coming in. The Newcastle attack, are they finally going to have a viable forward line for us to actually buy? Because defensively, like Livramento, it would have been a bargain if he got him from the beginning, and I'm definitely considering getting him into my side, but the likes of them coming in is a question. We've got Elliott from Aston Villa, we've got Dibbling for Everton as well if he plays on that right hand side, and Ndiaye goes up front, or Beto goes to the bench, we don't know yet. And then another interesting one that I want to look at is Sunderland's defence, because I think they've got a pretty strong defence now. You look at the likes of a Mukiele who came in from, I believe it was from PSG, who is a decent footballer. Don't get me wrong, he's not a fantastic footballer, but was at Leverkusen, I think, the year prior to last, on loan. I think he looks pretty good. And then they've got Gerd Schroeder as well, who was like sought after by an Arsenal. I remember back in the day, definitely. He went to Leipzig. Obviously, Leipzig have really fell short, and Sunderland looking to be a team that are trying to project themselves forward. I think it looks an interesting buy, so yeah, we'll go from there. But for now, I don't think I'm going to make any changes to my team. I think I'm happy with where I am. I need to evaluate. I don't want to make any rash decisions. I'm pretty happy with the form everyone's in. We'll go through that in a minute as well. But let's have a quick look at some of the players, shall we? So here's my side. Here's how everything's looking. Looks pretty decent for now. And if we have a look at some of the players, let's go through a few. Donnarumma, 5.5 million. I could have fit him in my side, but I don't think City's back line is good enough. Now, Donnarumma, world-class goalkeeper, has played with the, really good players in front of him. Thiago Silva, but I think as well he is a player that holds high standards, and you can just tell by the way that he was at AC Milan from a young age, took the captaincy very early, then he went to PSG off his own back, wanted to push forward, he got into the Champions League. Last year was unbelievable for PSG, and the way that he sort of commands his box is a very, very big thing, and I think he looks fantastic for those type of games. For me, so amazing things to be done with Donnarumma there. Wissa at 7.5 million. I think it's an interesting punt if you did want to go for him. Again, a question about fitness. Like match fitness is a whole different thing to actually training. Training, you're probably going to see him come in for 60 minutes maybe, but then hitting the ground running straight away, because he hasn't played, I think it's just going to hinder him a little bit, which is a shame. But Wolves at home, first game for him. For Newcastle, then Bournemouth, Arsenal, Forest and Brighton, I'd be a bit hesitant to bring him in. As well as that, alongside him is Woltermaid, I want to say he is called, or Voltermaid. There he is, Voltermaid. He's 7 million, so again, another choice, another bit of a backup. I think with Anthony Gordon being suspended a while, I think they might play with a Visser on the left-hand side and maybe Woltermaid up front. I don't know. We need to see how they actually line up, Newcastle. But Woltermaid, again, for 80 million, if you're going to bring in someone like that, they have to start. I'm surprised he's only 7. I think he's going to start, so he could be an interesting one. We've then got Elliott. So Elliott is going to be one that I keep an eye on. I think Villa had a poor start to the year, but when you look at it in the long run, they're going to come good. And Everton's a difficult one, especially at their new stadium. But then they've got Sunderland, Fulham, Burnley all in a row. And if you're going to play those types of teams who are going to be relegation battle teams, you're going to have to try and perform. And I think Harvey Elliott has a little bit of a spark, a little bit of, that player that can really do something and bring something to a game. We've seen it done for Liverpool, where he comes off the bench and he whips one into the top left-hand corner from that right-hand side. I think they are lacking someone on that right-hand side. I think the likes of like a Leon Bailey back in the day was brilliant, and then last year you had Rodgers moving out there a little bit because Rashford was on the left and sometimes Rashford on the right. They need someone in that spot. They brought in Sancho. I don't think he's going to do the business for them. Elliott is your man, and I think he's going to be a brilliant signing, so I'm going to keep an eye on him. Then we go into the signings from Tottenham. So we've got Xavi Simons, 7 million. I think this could be a bargain. If he really hits the ground running, he just plays like hard. He just wants to get on the ball, wants to do well. Again, great 5 fixtures to introduce himself to the Premier League. And then as well as that, we've seen Mawani. He is 7 million. A really interesting choice here. I think if Tottenham do play him and he is the main man and he starts scoring, he's in there. He's definitely got to be in here somewhere around my strikers. I definitely think so. And then the last one, of course, is Dibbling. How much is he? He's 5.5 million. Do I think he's a good buy? He probably is. I think he's probably going to get a fair bit of game time on that right-hand side. Genuinely. I think he'll get a fair bit of game time. Grealish, we've seen him come in. He got straight into the action. He's obviously doing really well. But for me, yeah, I think, to be fair, Dibbling might come off the bench to start off with and then maybe finds his form on that right-hand side if Beto is not performing up top. So that's that. Then I'm going to look at some of the form players. So Haaland's just scored 5 goals, I believe it is, for his national side. It might have been 5 or 4. But he looks on fire. He looks like he's ready to pounce and take his opportunities. I know he struggled against Brighton. He had 5 chances at the very beginning, but it didn't really pull off for him. So Haaland, one that I'm going to be looking at. As well as that, Ndoye. Ndoye played really well for Switzerland. I think, for me, he's the man. To me, he looks just really solid. And then upcoming Burnley and Sunderland, he's sticking in there. Arsenal away from home, going to be difficult. I don't think he's going to do too well against them. And obviously, the news of Nuno, I can't remember his name now. Nuno has left Nottingham Forest, or been sacked, should I say. Relieved of his position. Ange Postecoglou coming in. we're going to be seeing a very different Nottingham Forest side. And Doy, will he get the chances? I don't know, but he's in there. Rice. Now, Rice is an interesting one. I think he looks really, really good. Now, he's been picking up assists. He's been picking up them, clean sheet bonuses. Defensive contributions wise, doesn't really hit the nail on the head, but he did so against Liverpool. So in the big games, in the hard games, he's getting the defensive contributions in. He knows where to put himself and where to apply himself. I think he looks a pretty consistent 5 to 6 pointer per this year, just based on the fact that you now get points for recoveries and so on and so forth. So I think he looks really good. For England, picked up an assist for Harry Kane with the corner. His delivery, and I think it was delivery to actually Guehi as well from the free kick. So 2 assists for him. I think he looks really slick. I think to me, if you're going to go for a player that you want as a bargain, 6.5 million, you probably want to go for Grealish instead. But it's an interesting proposition to try and get into the Arsenal side where they do lack the likes of a Saka for now. Elliot Anderson played unbelievably well. I think he's screwed on. If you're going to want a player that's going to looks really, really good to try and get you those defensive contributions, he looks spot on. 5.5 million is a pretty good price for him as well. Tonali. Now, Newcastle, especially with them needing to go forward and get goals, I think Tonali might be the guy. Now, defensive contributions wise, if we have a look at what he doesn't really do too great with them. He's a bit, he's a defensive player, but he's not really a tackler and so on and so forth. People are starting to ship him out. He's starting to drop in price. He has scored for Italy at the weekend against Israel. Do we think it's the time to get him in? Because I think once he picks up a little bit of form, he starts firing. So Tonali's one to look out for. As well as that, Dubravka, I'll go for you a tiny few left over here. So Dubravka, very difficult run of games for them. Obviously Liverpool, Forest, City, Aston Villa, difficult run in. But then a nice run here of Leeds, Wolves, Arsenal at home is a hard one, but then West Ham. I think Dubravka, especially with how he's been playing, he's going to get a lot of points for assists, so definitely worth thinking about getting in him if you want to try and save money elsewhere. Then the last two is the back line for Aston Villa. Konsa looks really good for England, looked very, very good. So another solid display by him. Again, Villa, I reckon I'm going to get a Villa player in next week. I'm going to see how they play against Everton. Then it's Sunderland, Fulham, Burnley. I'll definitely be getting them in, resting them for 3 weeks, and then they go to, again, Bournemouth, Leeds, Wolves, Brighton. I think it's a nice little, switch up. I've got a difficult 3 weeks here. Maybe play them against Tottenham. You don't know if it's an attacking player. But for now, Konsa looks good. And then Mateus Cash, he actually did really well for Poland, getting forwards. We saw him get 8 points in the first game week. He did get those 10 defensive contributions. Goal involvements wise, it looks pretty average so far, obviously, but I think for him, it's all about trying to get forward and trying to push forward with Aston Villa, and I think that's what will happen going forward. So, for me, that's my team. Selection-wise, I'm going with this. I'm going for the captain of Grealish, because why not? It's between him and Semenyo, but again, I don't see João Pedro doing too well against Brentford. Saying that, he's probably going to score a hat-trick now. But we'll see what we can do. Not so much a bench boost yet. I'll probably be waiting until next week when Haaland has a nice one, or maybe the week after in that game week 6. Let's see how things work out. We've got Crystal Palace in that one. We've got Brighton for the likes of Chelsea. We've got Leeds for the likes of Bournemouth. Everton play West Ham. Crystal Palace do play Liverpool, though, which might be a difficult one because I do have quite a few players in here. But the likes of Nottingham Forest, Aston Villa, Tottenham, and Chelsea all have very nice fixtures in that game week. So I'll probably be looking to play my bench boost in game week 6. So let's see where we go from there. But thank you guys for watching. Thank you all for 309 it is now, sub-managers. I just checked that before, 309. I really do hope you are enjoying this content. If you are, leave a like, subscribe if you are new, and I shall catch you in the next video. From me, Alex, have a great day. Ciao.